So I just came across a video on X of RFK Jr. talking about how the military spends, or the government spends about $18 a day per person on one military man. And I don't know exactly what they were talking about, or if this is a specific base or that's just the overall national numbers, but about $18 per day to feed a soldier, essentially. And that this is actually on a lot of processed foods, and that they found that it's actually a lot cheaper to feed soldiers on Whole Foods for $10 a day, and they're actually running this experiment, I guess, with partnership, with Chef Robert Irvine at 20 different bases, starting at Fort Hood, Texas, to boost soldier health without added expense. So they almost are spending 2 times less on food in Whole Foods versus to feed a soldier versus with the processed foods. And honestly, my first reaction to this was like, what? Whole Foods are expensive. Like, that's crazy. And so I hit the little grok button on top on X to get some further context of this, to try to understand. I wanted to go into some of this with you guys. So it gave me that there was some peer-reviewed research from 2021 BMJ study confirmed Whole Foods cost less per nutrient than processed alternatives, with examples showing $1.50 daily for a nutrient equivalent diet versus $2.50 for junk food, supporting claims of smarter spending for better health outcomes. So I didn't go deep into that study at all, and I didn't see what incentives might have brought that conclusion necessarily. But even if you are a skeptic of science and peer-reviewed research, then why would the research confirm something that's actually better for us? Because I can have a conspiratorial mind a lot sometimes, and I don't see a reason why the outcome of that study would come out to be that, because it's something that's really good for humanity overall. So yeah. So again, my initial reaction to this was, dude, Whole Foods are expensive. Like, how could this be? And I was just typing through some of this with Grok to try to understand this data here. And one of the things that it said was the expensive myth comes from measuring wrong, and that junk food looks cheap per calorie because it's loaded with empty sugar and oil, which that's obviously no surprise. Everybody knows that. But studies show that ultra-processed foods are about 55 cents per 100 calories versus $1.45 for Whole Foods. Here's the thing: we don't eat for per calorie. We eat for satiety. We eat to feel good, to perform well. There's also the social and the cultural aspect of just like bonding as well. But overall, we eat to feel full. Like, we don't eat just to 100 calories in a spoonful of honey, right? Or tablespoon of honey versus 100 calories in an apple. Like, you're going to feel full from the apple, right? So that's that idea there. It also gave me, based off of some national averages, that could pertain closer to your actual life. And it said from a typical Walmart or Aldi run here, in order to 150 grams of protein pretty easily. This was 4 meals that it had for a total of $9 to $12 per day for one man, right? Breakfast, 4 eggs plus oats with banana and spinach for about $2. Lunch, 8 ounces of chicken thighs that was bought in bulk. Rice, broccoli for about $3.50. Dinner, 6 ounces of ground beef or salmon, sweet potato, and a big salad for about $4.50. And then a snack of Greek yogurt with apple and a handful of nuts for about $2. Again, $9 to $12 per day for one man. Put that into perspective of if you're eating out, say lunch, a good amount because you don't have time to meal prep, or you're eating out a lot for lunch from work because you don't have time to meal prep. You're going to spend at least $10 on one meal for just that lunch, right? So that's pretty eye-opening because, like, yes, these numbers are not going to be exact everywhere throughout the country, but like that's pretty wild because I had the same reaction of like, whoa, Whole Foods are expensive, man. Like, I'm really surprised by this. So I wanted to make this video because I saw this claim, and then I was going through this with Grok as well, and it was really interesting. And ultimately, let's say that actually you do spend a little bit more money on Whole Foods versus buying a good mix of, let's say, 50% Whole Foods and 50% processed foods versus 80 to 90% Whole Foods and 10 to 20% just kind of fun foods to have in the house, right? That you just enjoy, and that's just part of it. I get it. Not really. I used to be perfectionist when it comes to diet, and I'm not so much anymore. I want to try to eat as much whole foods as possible, and obviously want to feel really good and have high energy. But I also understand the sustainability factor. Like, my background with dieting was I tried to be so restrictive where I said absolutely not. I can't have any foods that are deemed bad. That would be dessert or some bread or anything that you would deem outside of Whole Foods. I thought was just bad, and that I would restrict at all costs. And there was deeper things under that. It wasn't just about the food. Like, there's psychological things around that. There's stress and a lot of other factors there. But so with my dieting background being that, I don't subscribe to the fact that you need to be absolutely perfect with your diet. You need to, yes, it's going to be hard, and you need to find a way to eat 80 to 90% Whole Foods. Like, without question, that can't be a negotiable. And there is the objection of time. I mean, I went over the objection of it being more expensive. And yes, it could be more expensive if you have a family and it's not just you, obviously. And if you're watching this, you might have a family yourself, and you're thinking, dude, it's a lot to spend on my family. There's ways to go about this, right? You get, more in bulk, and you just get, maybe it's a fattier cut of meat, and you emphasize rice and potatoes, things that are a little bit more cheaper produce, right? Or cheaper carb. And then frozen vegetables are honestly usually pretty cheap too as well. So like, there's ways to make eating Whole Foods very, very cheap. And then to break down the time factor, I went into this actually in a video that I made yesterday. It's titled, let me pull it up real quick. It's titled, Busy Men, If You Don't Have Time for the Gym, Watch This. And ultimately, it's all about, hope does not get you shedding fat and feeling like a beast again, ultimately. So again, let's say that you would spend more money, a little bit more money on Whole Foods than about 50-50, let's say. What's more worth it? Because in the long run, you know that eating more Whole Foods is going to be better for your overall health, right? There's no debate there, okay? So let's say short term, you might have a little less cash flow or positive cash flow, but you have more time. And by that, I mean more quality time. You're more present. You are there with your family more, rather than being super stressed out and anxious and low energy because you're putting trash foods inside your body. And I know that stress and energy and things, it's more multifactorial than just food, but ultimately we are what we eat, right? So if we eat like trash majority of the time, going out and every single lunch is out. And, you might be trying your best to eat something good from a local spot, and that's great, But if you're eating more fast food type stuff for lunches, that is absolutely going to play a role in your energy and feeling drained and lacking motivation and not wanting to, get to the gym more often. And ultimately, like, get your edge back as a man and just show up and ultimately just say, like, dude, these things are going to be hard and it's going to take effort, but I have no choice but to invest this time and energy and a little bit more monetary value into spending a little bit more money to make sure that not only my family is in a little bit better of a spot long term, but all together, but that I can show up and be the husband and the father that I need to be. And also whatever you do for your work, if it's something that's really service driven and you need to be present there with your clientele. Like I remember having a call with a man who said he always felt like really lacking motivation and really drained all the time physically and mentally really just stressed out. Number one thing, his biggest struggle was nutrition. And I don't think that comes by accident. And again, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to nutrition. Ultimately, you need to find what works for you sustainably and that can fit into like a chaos-proof system for your life. But ultimately, I mean, it's going to come down to preparation and planning, like things that just have to be done. Because ultimately, if you're lacking energy and you're lacking motivation, you're feeling drained all the time, like you can't feel like a freaking man at that point. Like you can't show up with like, dude, I want power and I want peace. Like if I have to show up physically for my family, like if you're put into a situation of threat, like yes, you're gonna show up. But I'm talking just showing up the masculine man in your daily life for your wife, instead of getting home drained and stressed out, low energy, and immediately plopping on the couch and scrolling on your phone because you're just like, oh, I need to just take a step back today. I'm really tired. It's been a long day. But like the first thing you do is, because you've had a really good breakfast and lunch, you're nourishing your body with the right stuff. You know, you're full of energy. You're hopping right back. You're coming home from the day. First thing you do, put your stuff down, grab your wife, give her a big hug and kiss, and she's like, whoa, what's up with you? Like those little things, she kind of gives you that look like, what are we doing here? I like this, you know? I get this because this has happened with my wife as well. And I've had these same circumstances myself. And again, nutrition isn't the only end all be all. Like it is a multifactorial system at play here. You have to be able to manage stress. You have to be training, but having a training routine that is also, again, chaos proof and built into your lifestyle, built around your work, built around your kid's life and other things that you like to do. It might be a Bible study. It might be you like to just go play golf with the buddies once or twice a week, and or something along those lines, right? So training needs to be built into your life, and nutrition plan needs to be built into your life as well. I'm not a rigid diet guy. Really just try to make it an individual approach. And then again, when it comes to stress management, like, are you reading scripture? Like, are you praying daily? Are you taking time in devotion to God and not just to make yourself feel better, but like out of actual worship, right? So it's multifactorial again, but I wanted to make this video because I just thought it was really interesting. My initial reaction was like, whoa, Whole Foods are really expensive. And then as I was going into this, I thought it was really cool and I wanted to make a video on it. And then, so yeah, if any of this sounds like you, or you're a man yourself, a Christian man, driven, but you've been really lacking energy, lacking motivation, and feeling drained a lot. You want to reach your full potential. You want to feel like a beast again. You want to just be the man that you're called to be, but you just don't have it right now. And you can't seem to figure out, time for work or time for the gym and how to eat right with it and systemizing everything. Let's connect on IG. You can shoot me a DM there, or you can also book a call down below. I'll put my call link down below if you want to chat there. But I would love to connect with you either way. And if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment below any questions, concerns, and or anything you'd like to see more of. And we will see you guys in the next video. God bless.